Welcome to the Beau Show. Thank you for watching. Many of you have probably heard about the Johnny Depp trial in which he is suing his ex-wife, Amber Heard, for $50 million for defamation. Before I go any further and you click off of this show because you just don't care about Hollywood actors and celebrities and their absurdities, stick with me because I will tie this into our current culture and why this trial is a microcosm of many other things that are happening. This trial is occurring because Depp's ex-wife, Amber Heard, released an op-ed in the Washington Post in December of 2018, in which Depp claims that though he was never mentioned by name, he was implied, and it was so defamatory that it damaged Depp's reputation and negatively impacted his career, particularly with the extended Disney sequels of Pirates of the Caribbean. Here's how Depp explained the damage in his direct examination.
Mr. Depp, did you experience any consequences after the release of the op-ed?
Absolutely.
And what
Yes.
were those?
I believe it was, I don't think it took Disney very long, maybe a couple of days, to announce that I had been removed from the Pirates of the Caribbean films franchise.
Mr. Depp, have you ever physically assaulted Miss Heard?
Never.
Have you ever sexually assaulted Miss Heard?
Never. Certainly not.
What have you lost as a result of Miss Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything. Nothing less than everything. Because when the allegations were made, when the allegations were rapidly circling the globe, telling people that I was a drunken, cocaine-fueled menace who beat women suddenly in my 50s. It's over. You know, you're done. So, what did it do to me? What effect did it have on me? I'll put it to you this way. No matter the outcome of this trial, the second the allegations were made against me, the accusations, the second that more and more of these things, as I said, metastasized and turned into fodder for the media. Once that happens, or once that happened, I lost then. That is to say, I lost because that is not a thing that anyone is gonna just put on your back for a short period of time. I will live with that for the rest of my life because of the allegations and because it was such a high-profile case. So I lost then, no matter the outcome of this trial. I'll carry that for the rest of my days. And it never had to be that way. It never had to happen. And I don't quite understand why it did in the way that it did.
Okay, so Depp alleges that Heard's op-ed was enough to damage his reputation, regardless of the veracity of the allegations. Depp is right to point out that the media feeds on salacious material. This was also true in the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation hearings for the Supreme Court, when his accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, alleged Kavanaugh had raped her as a high schooler, but could provide no details of the event or any corroborating evidence or witnesses. And while Kavanaugh was confirmed, you could tell how much this allegation rattled him and his family. Because any allegation of this kind is political and career death usually. The allegation becomes worse than the crime because the word is out there. As Depp explains in his testimony, the Me Too movement was in full swing. So when you have that as the world's pulse, any even minor allegation is going to be disastrous. So Amber Heard's op-ed in the Washington Post would tap into that pulse, and the media would go wild. Depp lost an earlier defamation case against the UK tabloid The Sun in 2020 over allegations of domestic abuse against Heard. The judge in that case found that the allegations that Depp was an abuser were substantially true. According to Newsweek, of course. Now, legally speaking, usually there needs to be a false statement made in order for there to be something actionable. But because Amber Heard claimed domestic abuse in their highly publicized divorce in 2016, her 2018 op-ed would certainly imply that the man she was referencing was Johnny Depp. That would lead readers of the op-ed, 2 years after Heard made mention of the domestic abuse, to think it's about Johnny Depp, thus opening her up to defamation. Now, Heard's legal team will use the anti-SLAPP provision as defense. SLAPP is an acronym that stands for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation, which as a defense would be to protect Heard from libel, because the subject matter is deemed of public interest. But even though Heard never mentions Johnny Depp by name, legally speaking, if the person reading a post or article about someone who isn't mentioned by name, but understands whom the intended person is by implication, and the statement being made is deliberately false, that opens up Heard to defamation. However, this is an uphill battle for Johnny Depp because defamation suits require proof of actual malice. Depp is such a public figure that the bigger a public figure that you are, the standards become even higher for defamation and malice, because you have to prove that the publisher acted recklessly and intentionally. And it also exposes Depp to more allegations. In the UK trial, after Depp lost, he was asked to resign from his role in Fantastic Beasts 3. So he already has provable damage from that UK trial. And even though Depp's hill to climb is steep, he sees it as worth it to salvage his career in court, because that UK judge found allegations to be substantially true. So Depp has everything to gain by winning this case in Virginia. But it's a different judge, a different jury, a different location, and a different publisher. And also fundamentally different laws on defamation and malice, which is why we have the First Amendment in this country. And although Heard is countersuing for $100 million, Depp sees this as an opportunity to make his case in a very public way, which strategically will expose some dirty laundry in this marriage. But he somehow feels in the end he will be cleared and can claw back some of those missed movie opportunities. At the root of this very public trial with two very public actors, this is all about reputation. But it's also about media feeding and salaciousness, and whether media also has a role in harming individuals who may lose tremendous opportunities as a result of the court of public opinion. Let's look at the op-ed itself to see what Heard alleges and the crux of the whole defamation case. The online version of the article is titled, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. This has to change. It subtitles Amber Heard as an ambassador for the women's rights at the ACLU. She writes, quote, like many women, I had been harassed and sexually assaulted by the time I was of college age, but I kept quiet. I did not expect filing complaints to bring justice, and I didn't see myself as a victim. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out, unquote. It is worth noting that a video is embedded by Connie Chung directed to Kavanaugh accuser Christine Blasey Ford entitled, "I Too Was Sexually Assaulted." I have to mention this because this is where media has a tendency to conflate and pile on. Why the need to inject this video, which is directed at someone who accused a man, Kavanaugh, without proof? Ford's testimony fell flat. And to further this political point, just below the video, Hurd writes this, quote, "We are in a transformative political moment. The president of our country has been accused by more than a dozen women of sexual misconduct, including assault and harassment. Outrage over his statements and behavior has energized a female-led opposition," unquote. Okay, so not only is Hurd piggybacking the Me Too movement, but also the pile-on movement against President Trump. And this op-ed was posted before Stormy Daniels lost her case against Trump. But she wrote this just a few months after the Kavanaugh hearing and confirmation. She fails to mention that in her op-ed. But she did write this long after the 2006 Duke lacrosse case, in which rape charges were dismissed against Duke players because the accuser changed her story so many times and there was a rush to judgment.